that's straight and bright. By the light of the Word.
Today on Light of the Word with Pastor Ray.
I've made a plan. I want you to bless it. Ever do that? Okay, Lord, I made this plan. Here's what I'm going to do. And now I'm asking you, just bless my plan of never coming. Not coming to the way that Jesus taught us in Matthew 6. Let your will be done, Lord. Lord, what is your will in this situation? Is this not a picture of James 4:2, this battle? You lust and do not have. You murder and covet and cannot obtain. You fight in war, yet you do not have because you do not ask.
Open your heart to us, Lord, so we can know your word. We come before you, Jesus. Speak to our hearts as we discover your love for us. How wide, how deep, how far. Pour into us so we can learn to follow. One surrender at a time. You have made the way for us to know you, a path that's straight and bright. By the light of the Word.
Have you ever made a plan for your life and then asked God to bless your plan instead of asking God to help you make the plan? In today's message, Pastor Ray will remind you that oftentimes your plans don't turn out the way you wanted them to because you didn't ask God to guide you as you made your plan. Pastor Ray will encourage you to spend time in prayer with God and make sure He has called you to go in this direction for your life. Well, let's join Pastor Ray in the book of Judges chapter 20 for today's edition of Light of the Word.
God says those who watch on, those who are doing, are just as guilty as doing it themselves. Oh, there's a deep word there for us. There's something that I think all of us have to review, and we have to look at this and say, am I letting stuff creep into my home that needs to be cut, chopped down? This is what needs to be cut down. This is what needs to be cut up. Not this concubine's body, but what needs to be cut up and cut down are the things of evil. And that's what needs to be rooted out. So all 426,700, they're guilty for protecting this Levite, the coward. He's the one who sacrificed his wife. And then this Benjamite protecting these pack of perverted men. Verses 18 through 25. Then the children of Israel rose and went up to the house of God and went and inquired of God. They said, which of us shall go up first to battle against the children of Benjamin? The Lord said, Judah first. So the children of Israel rose in the morning and encamped against Gibeah. And the men of Israel went out to battle against Benjamin, and the men of Israel put themselves in battle array to fight against them at Gibeah. Then the children of Benjamin came out of Gibeah, and on that day cut down to the ground 22,000 men of Israel. One event, 22,000 die. Verse 22, and the people, that is, the men of Israel, encouraged themselves and again formed the battle lines at the place where they had put themselves in array on that first day. Then the children of Israel went up and wept before the Lord until evening and asked counsel of the Lord, saying, shall I again draw near for the battle against the children of my brother Benjamin? And the Lord says, go up against him. So the children of Israel approached the children of Benjamin on the second day, and Benjamin went out against them from Gibeah on the second day and cut them down to the ground. 18,000 more of the children of Israel. All these drew the sword. So now we're up to 40,000 at least of Israel. We don't know how many of the Benjamites might have died in that battle. And what we see here, we see these men, Israel, here's our plan. They didn't go and they didn't seek the Lord and ask, shall we go? Is this what you want us to do? Do you want us to be the instrument of your justice? They've already determined we are the instrument of your justice, and now we're going to go. It's not a matter of if we're going to go. It's a matter of how and when we're going to go, and what they're basically saying, hey, bless my plan. I've made a plan. I want you to bless it. Ever do that? Okay, Lord, I made this plan. Here's what I'm going to do. And now I'm asking you, just bless my plan of never coming. Not coming to the way that Jesus taught us in Matthew 6. Let your will be done, Lord. Lord, what is your will in this situation? Is this not a picture of James 4:2, this battle? You lust and do not have. You murder and covet and cannot obtain. You fight in war, yet you do not have because you do not ask. You ask and do not receive because you ask amiss, that you may spend it on your pleasures. That prayer, it's totally amiss. That prayer is way off. And here they find, and here you are coming into war. That prayer wasn't seeking after the heart of God. It was them, God bless our heart of what we're going to do. And can I say this to you? If you think that God's calling you to be an instrument of justice, of judgment, maybe against another brother or sister, maybe against your spouse, maybe against some church, be sure that that's what God has called you to do. Because you may find yourself bloodied and beaten. Because, hey, we're the good guys. We're the good guys. They're the perverted group. I don't understand how we're not being blessed. And God's definitely saying, you're as guilty as they are, and you don't even see it. But be careful. If you're going to, make sure that God's called you, and then you make sure you go in the heart of God. These men didn't seek after the heart of God. They didn't come in the manner of the heart of God, and they got bloodied and beaten up. And now verse 26 through 28, then all the children of Israel, that is, all the people, went up and came to the house of God, and after 40,000 of them are slaughtered, and wept. They sat there before the Lord and fasted that day until evening, and they offered burnt offerings and peace offerings before the Lord. So the children of Israel inquired of the Lord. The ark of the covenant of God was there in those days, and Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, stood before it in those days, saying, shall I yet again go out to battle against the children of my brother? Now here they are, this is our brother, or shall I cease? They're finally asking, is this your will? Should we really be doing this? And the Lord said, go up, for tomorrow I will deliver them into your hands. In verse 35, it's going to say, and the Lord defeated Benjamin before Israel. It was God's desire. The only thing I'm sure about in this whole chapter is God did want to judge and cleanse Benjamin of this wicked sin. Because it's God saying, I'll give you victory. He didn't say anything about round 1 and 2, but this one he said, I'll give you victory. In verse 35, it says, and the Lord defeated Benjamin. Not Israel, the Lord defeated. Just another practical piece. If you find yourself in a confrontation with a brother, sister, someone among the church, someone among your home, you know what you always do well before you approach them? Get to the altar. Get to the altar and have a time of communion, you and the Lord. You got a battle going on in your home with your wife, with your husband, and you think you need to talk about something that's just bottling up inside you. Can I say before you go, get to the altar like they did. Get to the communion table, just you and the Lord. And look at that body, look at that blood, and say, what do you want me to do? Because I will say, how aggressive will you get in that confrontation after taking communion? Because one thing, and I know the heart of God, you know what he's going to say? They need the blood of Jesus for the covering of their sin as much as you did, as much as you do. Are you sure you want to be the ultimate judge? Even though I judged them on that cross 2,000 years ago. Before you enter into that, take a little time of communion, just you and the Lord. And then I will also say, you got a madness going on, a chaos. If just one person would have stopped this, if anybody could have stopped this at this moment, who knows how this might have changed. And maybe you're in the midst of a madness. Maybe you're in a place of chaos, and it's just like, I don't even know where it began. But all I know is we're in this continual cycle of fighting, and we don't even know what the topic was. It seems like we just keep building topic upon topic. And here, you know what? Step away and get to the altar of worship. And just let the worship of the Lord wash over you. Just listen to worship music. Go for a walk with worship music. Sit in the quietness somewhere in your house or in the park and just let worship wash over you. Because you know what? Worship will start washing. Worship will start washing these things away, and it will start just calming and bringing a calming effect. And the worship will lift you out of this moment along with the communion, and it'll lift you out of this dirt that we stand on. It'll move you up into the heavens, and you can sit there and go, I see the Holy God. I see your heart. I've connected with you. You might say, man, stand down. This ain't worth it. Stop the madness. Or he might say, yeah, I want you to speak. But here's how far I want you to speak. This far. And at the end of that, it's over. Stop. If just one of them would have stopped the chaos. So verses 29 through 48, I'm not going to read verse by verse because of our time's sake. But verse 29 is going to start, then Israel set men in ambush. And as we read in verse 35, it's the Lord who's going to bring the defeat. What Israel's going to do is going to use the exact tactic that Joshua used on Ai. They're going to set an ambush. And so they're going to bring men up to Gibeah, and Benjamin's all full of confidence and pride. They're going to start beating on them, and the men of Israel are going to turn. Benjamin's going to go, man, it's going to be like day 1 and 2. Let's go rout them. And they run out of the city. They go run, and they chase after the men of Israel, not realizing it's an ambush. And as they leave the city, there's men hiding outside, men of Israel hiding outside, and they rush into the city of Gibeah and light it on fire. And then Benjamin's going to turn and go, whoa, our city's on fire. And then they're going to turn and find that they're surrounded. And what we're going to read is 25,100 men will die. We're up to 65,000 men of war. Can you imagine if you would have just took those 65,000 men of war down to Dan's allotment? You'd have ran those squatters out. The Amorites would have been gone in a heartbeat. If only one person would have stopped the madness. How about you? Is there madness going on in your marriage? You guys have been fighting for weeks or months, and it just keeps going on and on and on. If one person will stop the madness, I think God can stop it all. You just say, you know what? Let's just stop. Control, Alt, Delete. Let's just wipe this clean. I don't even know what we started and how we got to here. But look, we're committed to one another. We're brothers and sisters, and we're husband and wife. We're children of God, bought with his blood. Stop. Please, let's stop. Did I say 65,000 men of war? Get this number. Verse 46 through 48. So all who fell of Benjamin that day were 25,000 men who drew the sword. All these were men of valor. But 600 men turned and fled towards the wilderness of the rock of Rimmon. They stayed at the rock of Rimmon for 4 months. And the men of Israel turned back against the children of Benjamin and struck them down with the edge of the sword. Remember? They went to Gibeah. Now look, from every city, men and beasts, all who were found, they also set fire to, look, all the cities they came to. Oh, they didn't stop at Gibeah. They went through all of Benjamin. They destroyed all of Benjamin. We read there's only 600 men left. There's not even wives that they can marry left. 600 left. If only one person would have stopped the madness, but it just kept going and going and going. And notice it went all the way to it's overreaching. It was against Gibeah. Now it's overreaching. You know what that's called? Revenge. That we would never do revenge, right? We're Christians. Christians don't do revenge. Jesus had to be talking about somebody else. He couldn't have been talking about us in Matthew 5. You heard it said, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. But I say, he goes on and he'll say, you shall love your neighbor. How about your enemy? I say love your enemy too. This is so overreaching, and it's part of our flesh. You know what? You hurt me. I'm not going to deal with that thing that you said, just that. After we deal with that, I'm going after your character. I'm going after your reputation. I'll go after your family. I'll go after your ministry. I will go until there's nothing left of you because you offended me. That one thing that you said, I will not stop until there's nothing left. And here are these men. This is against Gibeah. And that's what revenge will do. It doesn't stop. Revenge is never satisfied. Who will stop the madness? Will you stop the madness in your marriage? Will you stop the madness with the fight you may be having with that brother or sister? Will you stop the madness that maybe you're having with your parents? We still have all the memories of the things that hurt us, all the memories of the things that you did, even if it's 10 years or 20 years ago. Will somebody just stop the madness? You ever take a rock and throw it into a pond? That ripple makes it all the way to the shoreline. And you can't stop it. When you throw it, it will not stop until it goes all the way to its outer bounds. There's only one way to stop the next ripple. It's to drop your rock. It's the only way to stop the second ripple. These men so overreaching. Now verses 1 through 3 in chapter 21. Now the men of Israel had sworn an oath at Mizpah. Now it's payback time for what they've done, saying, none of us shall give his daughter to the Benjamin as wife. Then the people came to the house of God and remained there before God till evening. They lifted up their voice and wept bitterly and said, O Lord God of Israel, why has this come to pass in Israel that today there should be one tribe missing? Can you read into that? How did you let this happen, Lord? And God's like, me? Ever do that? We go, we do our own thing. It blows up on us and we go, how did you let this happen? God goes, in your disobedience? Could it be something to do with that? But we blame it on the Lord rather than looking to ourselves. And that's why I don't even know what their heart was when they were back at Shiloh seeking the Lord. Let's go to verse 13. So it was on the next morning that the people rose early and built an altar there and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings. The children of Israel said, who is there among the tribe of Israel who did not come up with the assembly of the Lord? For they made a great oath concerning anyone who had not come up to the Lord at Mizpah, saying, he shall surely be put to death. Surely that wasn't God's intent. And the children of Israel grieved for Benjamin their brother and said, one tribe is cut off from Israel today. What shall we do for their wives, for those who remain? Remember, there's 600. Seeing we have sworn by the Lord that we will not give our daughters as wives. And they said, what one is there from the tribe of Israel who did not come up to Mizpah to the Lord? And in fact, no one had come up to the camp from Jabesh Gilead to the assembly. For when the people were counted, indeed, not one of the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead were there. So the congregation sent out their 12,000 of the most valiant men and commanded them, saying, go and strike the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead with the edge of the sword, including the women and the children. And this is the thing that you shall do. You shall utterly destroy every male and every woman who has known a man intimately. So they found among the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead 400 young virgins who had not known a man intimately, and they brought them to the camp at Shiloh, which is in the land of Canaan. Then the whole congregation sent word to the children of Benjamin who were at the rock of Rimmon and announced peace to them. God doesn't need our help. Oh, how do we get ourselves out of this jam? Oh, let's just further more sin. Let's just go and kill some more to cover up our sin. Oh, if only one man would have stopped the madness and calmed the chaos. But here we see they come to this place, and we're going to help you out, Lord. There's 600 of them that don't have wives. They need wives, and we can rebuild the tribe by getting them wives. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go down and kill these ones. Ever do that? Well, you know what? Money's really tight. So I think I'm just going to have to make some adjustments on my tax returns. Going to help you out, Lord, because I'm falling a little short this year. You know, money's really tight. We're going to have to live together, because between our two salaries, we can't afford 2 rents, to which I always say, your God isn't big enough to supply all of your needs. So here they come. They're trying to help God out, and they help him out by wiping out. And now it gets even better. So Benjamin came back at that time, and they gave them the women. We'll go all the way to verse 23, that they had saved alive of the woman of Jabesh Gilead, and yet they had not found enough for them. And the people grieved for Benjamin, because the Lord had made a void. The Lord had made a void in the tribe of Israel. Really? Then the elders of the congregation says, what shall we do for wives of those who remain, since the women of Benjamin have been destroyed? So they're down 200. And they said, there must be an inheritance for our survivors of Benjamin, that the tribe may be destroyed from Israel. However, we cannot give them the wives from our daughters, for the children of Israel had sworn an oath, saying, cursed be the one who gives a wife to Benjamin. And again, I always say, if you make a stupid oath, get with the Lord and say, what do you want me to do about my stupid oath? And you know what he'll say? That was a stupid oath. Don't honor it. Verse 19, then they said, in fact, there is a yearly feast. Here comes another loophole of the Lord in Shiloh, which is north of Bethel, on the east side of the highway that goes up from Bethel to Shechem and south of Lebanah. Therefore they instructed the children of Benjamin, saying, go lie in wait in the vineyard and watch. And just when the daughters of Shiloh come out to perform their dance, then come out from the vineyard, and every man catch a wife for himself from the daughters of Shiloh. Then go to the land of Benjamin. Then it shall be, when their fathers or their brothers come up to us and complain, that we'll say to them, be kind to them for our sake, because we did not take a wife for any of them in the war. For it is not as though you have given the women to them at this time, making yourself guilty of oath. You didn't give them, they took it. So see, you're okay. And verse 23, and the children of Benjamin did so. They took enough wives for their number from those who danced, whom they caught. Then they went and returned to the inheritance, and they built the city and dwelt in them. Ridiculous loophole. We got to help God out. And let's close up this book. So the children of Israel departed from there at that time, every man to his tribe and family. They went out from there, every man to his inheritance. In those days there was no king in Israel. Everyone did what was right in his own sight. Life will always be confusing and chaotic when you have no king.
You have made the way for us to know you, a path that's straight and bright. By the light of the word.
We've loved walking through the book of Judges with you today on Light of the Word. We hope that today's message has reminded you of the great love your Creator has for you and how much He desires to be a part of your life. As you've been listening to Pastor Ray's message today, you may have found there's some questions you'd like answered. We'd love the opportunity to answer them as best as we can. So please send us an email at mail@ccaac.org. Let us know, too, how we can be lifting you up in prayer. That email address again is mail@ccaac.org. Light of the Word is created and produced from the services of Pastor Ray Bolus at Calvary Chapel of Anne Arundel County, Maryland. And we'd love for you to learn more about who we are and why we're sharing the gospel message. Visit our website at ccaac.org. And while you're there, sign up for our weekly newsletter and connect with us on Facebook or Twitter. You'll also discover a number of resources available to help you study the Bible and grow in your relationship with the Lord. That website again is ccaac.org. Thanks for joining us today. Our time with you has come to a close, but we encourage you to continue reading in the book of Judges. We hope you'll join us again here on Light of the Word, illuminating the heart of God.
You have made